Imagine a vast family fortune, tied not to merit, but to sheer survival against the odds. Picture a young man, born outside this gilded cage, but with a rightful claim, simmering with quiet ambition. What if the only path to the life you're meant to have involves a series of unfortunate accidents befalling those closest to you? Welcome back, cinematic explorers, to a deep dive into the darkly twisted tale of ambition, inheritance, and murder that will leave you questioning everything you know about family. Today, we unravel The Redfellow Inheritance, a film that dares to ask, how far would you go for the life you deserve? Our story begins by introducing Beckett, a young boy from a modest background, whose mother, Mary, was disinherited from the opulent Redfellow family. He reveals a crucial detail: an irrevocable trust dictates that the fortune passes to the next oldest in line, meaning Beckett could inherit it all, if he outlives everyone else. The weight of this possibility, of waiting for all of them to die, hangs heavy over his young life. Despite their financial struggles, Mary ensures Beckett receives a rich cultural education, preparing him for a life beyond his current means. This upbringing leads to a pivotal encounter with Julia Steinway, a girl who immediately captivates young Beckett, seemingly his perfect match. During their childhood interaction, Beckett hints at his future inheritance, sparking Julia's interest and setting the stage for their intertwined destinies. Tragedy soon strikes as Beckett's mother falls ill, her symptoms initially dismissed by her youth and lack of attention. On her deathbed, Mary imparts a profound promise to Beckett, never to quit until he achieves the right kind of life, the life she believed he was raised to have. Mary's final request for burial at the Redfellow mausoleum is denied, cementing Beckett's sense of injustice and fueling his resolve. In that moment, Beckett decides to confront the Redfellows directly, seeking his rightful place and home. Instead, he endures a challenging tour through the foster care system, losing touch with Julia along the way. Years later, Beckett finds himself in a mundane office job, diligently tracking the Redfellow's surprisingly low mortality rate. A chance encounter brings him face to face with Julia, rekindling their connection and her playful challenge for him to kill them all, to inherit the fortune. Mary's dying words echo as Beckett, now frustrated by his job and the Redfellow's continued existence, begins to contemplate the unthinkable. He muses about pruning a few branches from the family tree, his thoughts drifting toward Taylor Exeter Redfellow, a reckless broker. A sudden, unfair transfer to a warehouse job pushes Beckett further towards his dark path, intensifying his resentment against the privileged. Taylor, a boisterous and ostentatious personality, proves easy to locate at a lavish party. As the party winds down and Taylor struggles with his boat, Beckett sees his opportunity to isolate him. Taylor, drunkenly stranded, boasts about his possessions, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. Beckett confronts Taylor, who, disoriented, asks who he is before Beckett forcefully pushes him into the water, causing him to drown. Beckett is stunned by the simplicity of his first act, admitting to a strange thrill from the experience. He audaciously attends Taylor's funeral, where he meets Warren Redfellow, a senior family member. Beckett introduces himself as Mary's son, exploiting Warren's guilt over neglecting Mary and her child. Warren confides his regret over Taylor's wild behavior, admitting he should have been more involved in his life. Warren offers Beckett a job at the family's prestigious financial firm, suggesting nepotism as the path to success. Beckett accepts, acknowledging it wasn't his original intention but a necessary step to advance his position. At the firm, Beckett quickly learns the intricacies of high finance, particularly how the wealthy profit from others' earnings without directly making their own. He sees this as an education, knowing he might soon manage a fortune of his own. Julia calls, teasing him about his new job and their previous interaction, subtly testing his interest while revealing her recent marriage to Lyle. She declines his offer for a drink, citing her marriage, yet suggests they might run into each other sometime soon, leaving Beckett to ponder his next move. Beckett turns his attention to Noah Redfellow, a performative artist known for his loud online presence and imposter syndrome. Now more confident, Beckett believes he can get away with murder and even be rewarded for it. He feigns admiration for Noah's art at a gallery opening, cleverly engaging him in conversation. Beckett introduces himself as Noah's cousin, forging a connection based on their shared Redfellow lineage. Noah, somewhat intoxicated, takes Beckett up to a secluded shack where he secretly smokes, revealing his hidden activities. He swears Beckett to secrecy just as his wife, Ruth, arrives, clearly disapproving of his habits. Ruth corrects Noah on Beckett's name, and they invite Beckett for dinner, allowing him to further infiltrate their lives. During dinner, Ruth questions Beckett about his finance job, noting his suspiciously long pause when asked if he likes it. They bond over their knowledge of classic literature, particularly David Copperfield, highlighting a shared intellectualism distinct from Noah. Beckett now needs a sophisticated plan for Noah, unlike the impulsive first murder, as people are gonna figure it out, eventually. He devises a cunning scheme, creating dynamite from photographic chemicals, to be hidden under Noah's sink, making his death seem like a tragic accident. At the dinner party, as guests depart, Noah retrieves his hidden art, and Beckett finds him alone in his studio. Ruth returns, playfully accusing Beckett of trying to get her alone, unaware of the impending catastrophe. The bomb detonates, killing Noah and reinforcing Beckett's dark success. Following Noah's death, Beckett is questioned by FBI agents Pinfield and Matthews, who are investigating the Redfellow family deaths. He feigns ignorance about his inheritance, claiming to be just a friend of Noah's and working a regular job. The agents, unconvinced, reveal that 2 family members die like this in a row, triggers bureau protocols. Warren, impressed by Beckett's apparent rise, publicly praises him, solidifying his place in the firm and the family. Julia appears, revealing Lyle's financial troubles and her desperate need for a loan, hinting at an under-the-table arrangement. She cryptically warns Beckett about the mysterious deaths, implying he should be nervous and subtly threatening him. Beckett realizes his simple methods are too risky now, necessitating a more sophisticated approach. His next target is Stephen Redfellow, a controversial megachurch pastor with a history of legal troubles and a flamboyant public persona. Given Stephen's many enemies, Beckett considers that if Stephen were to end up in a dumpster, it might simply be seen as God's will. Beckett infiltrates Stephen's office disguised as Ben Johnson, a journalist from Midwest Christian magazine. Stephen, however, sees through Beckett's disguise, revealing his paranoia and sharp intellect, exposing Beckett's deception. Cornered, Beckett admits his true identity, deflecting Stephen's suspicion of a hit piece, and feigning an awkward family reunion. Beckett subtly poisons Stephen's pre-workout drink with tropane alkaloids, ensuring his death appears to be a natural heart attack. He reflects that he is finally getting somewhere, achieving the right kind of life his mother envisioned. Ruth confesses to Beckett her intention to break up with Noah before his death, admitting she doesn't feel devastated, and they plan a dinner date. Julia unexpectedly appears in Beckett's apartment, demanding to know his intentions regarding their agreement and revealing her husband Lyle's financial ruin. She pressures Beckett for an under-the-table loan, emphasizing her desperate situation. Ruth arrives for their date, forcing a tense and awkward situation where Beckett must hastily usher Julia out. During dinner, Ruth questions societal pressure to dream big, confessing her desire for a simpler life, contrasting with Beckett's ambition. A priest's voiceover questions if Beckett's contented life with Ruth and his career should have been enough, prompting him to momentarily pause his deadly quest. Despite a brief pause, Beckett realizes his murders remain uninvestigated, confirming his perceived mastery and resuming his plan. Aunt Cassandra, renowned for adopting many children, becomes Beckett's next target. Despite her extensive security measures at home, Beckett exploits her routine visit to a day spa. He offers her a complimentary teeth whitening service with a lethal dose of carbamide peroxide, making her death appear accidental. Next, Uncle MacArthur, an eccentric aerospace enthusiast planning a trip to the moon, is in Beckett's sights. Beckett gains access to MacArthur's facility with a fake pass and uniform, sabotaging the rocket fuel mixture. MacArthur's rocket explodes during takeoff, seemingly a tragic technical malfunction. Beckett asks Ruth to move in with him into a luxurious apartment, symbolizing his growing success and the life he's building with her. Ruth reassures him that she loves him for who he is, not for his wealth, reminding him of their humble beginnings. The narrative shifts to Warren Redfellow, the last remaining adult Redfellow, whom Beckett now considers untouchable. Beckett feels content enough with his life with Ruth and his job, contemplating whether to abandon his murderous path. He and Ruth plan their engagement party, symbolizing a new chapter, free from the Redfellow drama. The FBI agents, however, reappear, now aware of his inheritance and pressing him on his whereabouts during previous deaths. Beckett deflects their questions, using an alibi of buying a hot dog, which the agents struggle to verify from grainy footage. Warren collapses from a heart attack, and on his deathbed, advises Beckett to prioritize love and connection over the money rabbit. Beckett realizes that only his grandfather, Whitelaw Redfellow, remains as the last obstacle to the fortune. Ruth's grandfather, Whitelaw, invites Beckett to a dinner party at the estate, setting the stage for the final confrontation. Ruth, unaware of the true stakes, reminds him to be home for their engagement party, highlighting the duality of Beckett's life. At the estate, Julia confronts Beckett, revealing she's been tracking him and knows he's responsible for the deaths. She blackmails him, demanding money and threatening to expose him to the FBI and reveal his secrets to Ruth. Julia orders Beckett to deliver checks to Lyle, setting up a confrontation between the two men. Beckett confronts Lyle, who, despite Julia's betrayal, resents Beckett for his rise from a little bastard from Newark. A fight ensues, resulting in Lyle's death, though the circumstances are unclear whether Beckett directly killed him or caused it. Whitelaw, aware of the storm outside and an impending showdown, cancels the dinner but welcomes Beckett. Whitelaw subtly questions Beckett about the filthy business of climbing the ladder, alluding to his own ruthless past. He advises Beckett to silence his conscience, to make that voice go down to a whisper, hinting at a shared, dark philosophy. Whitelaw then presents Beckett with a World War I trench gun, forcing him to hold it and drawing a bead, testing his resolve. Beckett tries to leave, but Whitelaw locks the doors, trapping him in a deadly cat-and-mouse game. A violent struggle ensues, culminating in Beckett killing Whitelaw in what he claims is self-defense. The police arrive, and Beckett insists he needs to leave for his engagement party, attempting to maintain his facade. At home, Ruth demands a full explanation, sensing Beckett is withholding something crucial. Beckett lies, telling Ruth only what she would hear on the news about his grandfather's death, continuing his deception. He revels in his newfound wealth and the right kind of life, despite Ruth's lingering suspicions. FBI agent Pinfield arrives at Beckett's engagement party and arrests him for the murder of Lyle Archdale. Beckett is stunned, realizing he's being framed for a murder he claims he didn't even commit. The trial quickly unfolds in federal court, with Beckett facing capital punishment. Evidence mounts against him, security footage, eyewitness testimony, and his fingerprints found on the letter opener used to kill Lyle. Julia testifies, tearfully admitting she was in love with Beckett, further implicating him. The jury finds Beckett Redfellow guilty of first-degree murder, sentencing him to death. In prison, facing execution, Beckett waits, believing Julia might still come through for him. Julia visits him in prison, teasing him about a big day coming up and hinting at a secret involving handwriting. She reveals Lyle left a note, but only offers to release it if Beckett signs everything over to her. Beckett refuses her blackmail just as his visiting time ends, seemingly sealing his fate. As the execution draws near, Beckett, still calm, wonders if Julia will ultimately save him. At the last minute, a guard announces a stay of execution, as Julia has provided Lyle's suicide note, which she fabricated. Beckett is released, finding Julia waiting for him, the architects of this elaborate scheme now free. Beckett reflects on the tragedy, not of his life, but of the audience's expectations for justice. He reiterates Whitelaw's philosophy, silence your conscience, and eventually, you might never hear it at all, suggesting his moral compass is forever broken.